Hi guys, I want to talk about chemtrails and contrails, the difference so people know about it. There are many people who know about this already, and there's also a lot of conspiracy around this, theories, or it's deemed as conspiracy, so people go down that way where they then make fun of other people taking chemtrails, for example, like, oh, are you also one of them who believes in chemtrails, ha 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 ha. This type of mind programming is also going on through the media, through comedy, and online anything, right? Comments, they run bots that are commenting like that, and then kids that don't know anything about what is going on in the world online, digitally, right? That there are bots, they program bots, they find comments, and then they say certain things in a certain way, they put it in a certain way, they have similar argumentations, and then other people, real people, see those comments. Usually these are replies to comments that were made also from real people, and bots reply, and then real people read what bots have replied to those real comments, such as, do you know about the chemtrails, do you know what's inside, blah blah blah. Then a bot comes and says, oh, you must be a conspiracy theorist, right? It's just a simple example. Then real people read this and they jump onto what the bot says because it's funny or whatever, it's easy to digest, right? It follows the narrative that is put out then by the media in general, by the public opinion, or what the public opinion is supposed to be. And this is what creates usually those kind of people that completely would deny that chemtrails is what the word says, chemicals, chemtrails. Chem comes from chemicals, and trails is the thing that airplanes leave behind in the sky. And there are also contrails. Con comes from, not because contra or something, like it's the contrary of chemtrails. It could be seen as that, but it comes from condensation in the first place, because there is something natural, physically happening, chemically happening, which is condensation, and that's perfectly fine. That comes from turbines, which is the engine of planes these days. And you have contrails, and they are short-lived. Contrails, you see them, they disappear very fast. Okay, they are just a few meters behind the airplane and they disappear very fast. But chemtrails is the exact opposite of that, where you see clouds forming after an airplane has passed over your head, and the trail that the plane leaves behind stays there for a very long time, and it slowly dissolves into an actual cloud. You can see that there is, besides that, is a blue sky, and where the airplane flew, it's slowly getting more grayish, right, or cloudier from that trail, and that trail stays there. And there's a difference between chemtrail and contrail. And here what you have is chemtrails. You can clearly see that these are not normal clouds. Normal clouds do not come in these straight lines that are going into all kinds of different directions. This is how you know these are clouds forming from airplanes. Hundreds of airplanes in the sky above cities, passing overheads, right? They form clouds, and you can spot those clouds as not natural clouds by realizing, okay, there are actually lines that go into all kinds of directions, because that's where the airplanes were flying an hour ago, half an hour ago, a few minutes ago. And this is how you get this texture. That's how you can spot those clouds in the first place. Look up. You can, if you live close to a town, city, huge big city, capital, whatever, you can easily spot that and see, okay, that's a chemtrail cloud. And over time it dissolves into thicker clouds, okay, I mean larger clouds, and they're thinning out. So I said it wrong here, but it's like wider clouds. Okay, they dissolve, they move, they stretch out. Okay, and slowly they form this layer of chemicals, of chemtrails, over the cities overhead, and yeah, it's like smog or whatever you want to call it, but smog is usually what comes from car fuel, earthly sources such as companies, manufacturers, factories, cars, smokers. Here again, just 2 times again. This may be half an hour ago where I took this picture, and you see that's the trail of the plane, and then that's how the cloud dissolves. It stays there, or the trail dissolves. It stays there in the sky. It shapes like a large cloud that is wide, and it's a band, and slowly dissolving further and further until it's not the blue sky anymore that you're looking at, but some sort of grayish layer. Okay, and imagine there are hundreds of these airplanes during the day, and that's what you then slowly get at night or approaching the evening time. That you usually get those skies that aren't blue, that in like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, there were evenings supposed to be completely blue sky, you know, just the sun setting. But these days, from cities, that's what you get. You're looking at gray layers right there that are not natural clouds, but artificial clouds produced by airplanes. It is as simple as that. Usually people know about chemtrails already, but if you do not know about chemtrails, that's why I am explaining it so thoroughly now, that you can also follow all the steps that I'm talking about in the next few minutes. Here's just another example of a chemtrail that goes from east to west. That's where the sunset is. All the way. You can see it here, there, and it's making this rainbow shape, right? All I did was make a panoramic picture of that. You can see how this shows in the sky, which also relates to shape of the earth stuff, perspective. If you don't know anything about it, that is what's happening if an object in the sky that shares the same height above Earth at its course, moving from east to west, it creates this bow shape to an observer on Earth, observing that airplane from Earth, right? And while this picture may be a little bit exaggerated because it's a picture from a device, in reality is very similar. When I looked at that, the oval shape of this track in this picture may be a little bit exaggerated, but in reality it's almost like that. Okay, you can clearly see what's happening to an object according to perspective that just has a level and passes by your perception, your visual perception. You do not change location, but an object in the sky is much faster, and it changes its location according to your position very fast. So this is what's happening. This basically proves that such a shape can occur with celestial objects just as well. Moon, sun, stars. Okay? The Earth does not have to be a ball to get that shape. Should be self-explanatory by now. And again here, comparing a contrail with a chemtrail. On the left, you have the short tail that disappears very fast because it's just about condensation. It's like water evaporating through because of heat or differences in temperature, and because of what the engine is doing. Okay, right there. While here you have chemtrails. They stay in the sky, you don't even see the airplane anymore. They just stay there. Half an hour later, 1 hour later, and they slowly dissolve into larger actual layers of chemicals in the sky. And now what's wrong with that, right? You would think, well, it's all up there, doesn't bother us, right? It's all at about 10 kilometers of height, because that's the altitude of commercial airplanes. You could think, well, why should I bother about this? Because it's in the air, it's all coming down through densities, okay? You know that air has a certain density, and anything that is denser than air comes down to us again. Rain, for example, raindrops. When drops form in the clouds, they come down as rain because of densities. And so do these chemicals come down on us, whether it's with rain or just by themselves, because they are heavier. There are metals inside these chemtrails, which I get into later, that share a higher density than the surrounding air, and that's why they drop. It is that simple. So eventually we are the ones who are breathing in this stuff with our lungs, and that's the point here, okay? Maybe not within an hour you're breathing in this stuff, but maybe in 2 days, maybe in 1 day, the next day, or in 10 hours. I do not have those numbers, but you get the point. That's what's bothering, should be bothering people, because I know there are many people out there that are smokers. They don't bother what they are inhaling, neither bother by themselves nor bother about others, what neighbors are inhaling when they're smoking, but it's the same thing. It's not healthy at all, okay? Healthy air is without pollution. When you go to the ocean, there is no city around you, or you go into the woods, far away from any cities, out at the countryside, and you know there are no airplanes above you passing by this area. Then you get fairly unpolluted air. That's healthy. Everything else is not healthy, is not God's intention, okay? God did not create earth and nature like this. All of this is a consequence. What we're facing right now is a consequence of man-made creations, okay? There is greed behind this. There is this sick need of always being profitable, you know, or in general the world, like reaching for the skies, right? We can fly to any continent within hours these days. These are man-made creations. God did not create the world, I don't know, 6,000 years ago, or whatever you want to believe in, million years ago, in that state, right? By default, there are no airplanes. By default, there are no cities. By default, there are no cars. These are man-made creations. People have to be aware of that, okay? Just because they're using natural material or that comes from nature doesn't mean that it's actually healthy. Because we all know that metals can be toxic to the human body. Certain things can be toxic to the human body, especially being inhaled. Okay, it goes to your lungs, it goes to those bubbles in your lungs, I don't know how you call them in English, and then it goes straight into your blood. That's why some people love to smoke joints or whatever, because it rushes straight to their brain or blood, right? And they get a quick high from that. Knowing how quick it works while smoking a joint or whatever, you should know how quickly these things can enter your body if you're dealing with toxic metals and toxic ingredients, right? Could be aluminum, barium, but I'll get into that. Chemistry takes to the skies. Why is this happening in the first place? Why do we not just have contrails anymore? like in the old days, you would say, but we also have chemtrails. And now here's the point. There is this propaganda out there that we need to cool down the planet, and they have indoctrinated the minds, or propagated the minds in such a way that they have come to believe that climate change is real and we need to do something about it, right? It pulls on the heartstrings of especially men who have it in them, right, to do good. Oh, we need to do good. All people have this inside them, but they're being manipulated by their very own emotions. They say, oh, climate change is happening. Then they come out with all kinds of studies, the elite, I'm saying, right? These people that are pushing the stuff through the TV, through the news, through all these kinds of... These are not people like you and me, okay? Then, after seeing and hearing all of this stuff, then people like you and me come and say, well, have you heard about this? Climate change is going on, we need to do something about that, right? And this is how, and they count on this fact, the elite counts on this fact, this is how they push forth their agenda, their narratives, from which they can draw, from which they can pull further things. They have plans, okay? So now they're saying, well, we need to cool down the planet, we need to block the sunlight from entering our skin, basically, from entering the earth, from being shown upon the surface of the earth. I mean, it's a God's given right that we receive sunlight. Actually, receiving sunlight in your skin is very important. Okay, people, there is also this narrative out there that sunlight is bad for you. I mean, what do people believe? Obviously, if you're staying in the sun, that your skin is getting burned, then it may not be so healthy. But sunlight, raw sunlight without any blocking, is good. Okay, if you don't happen to be at any tropics or whatever, let's say you're at New York or in Europe somewhere, it's important that raw sunlight reaches you. Okay. There's almost no chance of getting sunburns if you're living in northern parts, okay, even though you're exposed to direct sunlight. It is important. It also comes not just with visible light, but with radiation. Okay, UV light, for example, that is important for the skin to turn, to make energy. Okay, what you see, for example, solar panels on houses, right? This is technology that is based off of the fact what's happening on the skin. Okay, the body, the skin, is producing energy through sunlight. People need to be exposed to sunlight at least 6 hours a day. That's how people recharge, actually. If they are sitting inside in front of a TV, computer, whatever, inside their caves, four walls, so to say, they live a very unhealthy life, and consequences will show years later, okay, because they have withdrawn from sunlight and they always feel tired because they never get that charge. Like, it's like a battery, so to say, right? We need energy, our bodies need energy to move. Most people then grab to food, right? They think, okay, I need to eat things, I need to drink, eat all this stuff, I need energy from these things, because they have reduced the incoming energy from sunlight completely from their lives, usually, right? Then they need to eat so much, then they get fat or whatever, obese, and they suffer all kinds of other problems, because basically they need energy and they are then grabbing to sources that are maybe more convenient or easily reachable, right? And it tastes good. People eat too much anyway, and they forget about the energy that comes from the sun, that is needed. First of all of this, why am I saying this? Because people come to believe that there is something out there that is called climate change, they have no clue that it's a propaganda, it's a narrative, it's an agenda which elite people are using to manifest something else in society, to actually rile up social structures and implement their own things, which is, for example, spraying something over people's heads that is not healthy to them, that blocks sunlight, reduces the energy income from people. Obviously, elite people cannot make money usually from sunlight, right? It's a free available energy source, just like air. Everybody, people would rile up, people would rebel if they started to privatize sunlight, if they started to privatize air. They are already riled up because people are privatizing water. It's a natural right. It's like free, so to say, right? It should be freely available. But what is not freely available is food. You see how this works? If people don't get energy from sun, from natural remedies, sun, water, air, and unpolluted, unblocked, they need energy from something else, which is the food. And the food chains are there, right at the corner, owned by elite families, bloodline families, people, supermarket chains. Okay, that's where then the people are herded towards to buy, to consume, to get their energy. Okay, and they give these people money because they have no clue what is happening. At the same time, they are completely mind controlled that we need to help nature care about itself, so to say, right? The earth is warming up, so we need to block the sunlight. And that's a thinking that is completely insane, but the people believe everything that comes out of the books. And so chemistry takes to the skies, because now they can justify what they're doing, spraying chemicals into the sky via airplanes. Now they can justify this behavior by the climate change agenda. One patented method involves the use of titanium oxide or dioxide, a perfect medium for skywriting. Chemtrails versus contrails. Okay, that's just a snippet that I give you here to make you understand what's happening. There are chemicals, chemtrails, that are sunlight blocking. Usually people know about aluminum, barium, who are already know about chemtrails. They do not know about titanium oxide or dioxide, which is probably the most important ingredient actually. Not aluminum and barium, which are also considered toxic, but it's actually titanium dioxide. Why? Because it's also used in sun blocking cream, sun cream. You know, the lotions that people put onto their bodies, there is titanium dioxide as well in it to block the sun from entering the skin. Okay, giving energy to the body. It's photovoltaic. Okay, energy comes from light. The skin needs to be exposed to energy. Okay, you yourself have solar panels in your skin, so to say. If you're blocking those solar panels, you don't get energy from this. It is that simple. And while you're blocking the skin, the ingredient titanium oxide is considered to be poisonous, toxic, okay, cancerous. Chemtrails pose dangerous pollution. Grace manufactures the highly toxic chemical titanium dioxide, known for its resistance to ultraviolet rays. Titanium dioxide is used in paint or sunscreen. Okay, sunscreen, I don't know how you say that. So they're spraying the stuff into the clouds to block the sunlight. Just what's happening on your skin with cream, they're doing in the air. Educate yourself about chemtrails. Titanium and thorium have been found in samples. Geoengineering has been going on for more than a decade and is accelerating with the US. Okay, these are just snippets that I give you straight from Google. You can look and research, look up the stuff for yourself and research, okay, what is actually going on. The military is also in bed with all of this, but first of all, chemtrails harmful to health. The European Parliament lets you know. Yet people think it's all a conspiracy. These trails, unlike condensation trails, do not dissipate quickly into the atmosphere. We already know that. I explained it to you. In addition, there is proof which confirms the presence. And that's the whole article, okay? Before I had all the snippets, now this is the whole article. And there is something also that comes with that I'll get into it soon. Let's just read this together. Chemtrails harmful to health. This was in 2012. According to an Italian blogger, from 1996 until now, there has been an increase in chemical trails, also known as chemtrails, which many people know nothing about. These trails, unlike condensation trails, contrails, do not dissipate quickly into the atmosphere. In addition, there is proof which confirms the presence of there being harmful chemical elements in the trails. Some researchers have studied the composition and effects of this phenomenon, which may to us seem harmless and commonplace. According to these experts, chemical trails are the result of experimental operations which have manifold purposes, and those operations are military, climate change, propaganda stuff. Okay, the main objectives are by the range from the meteorological to the military. The analysis carried out have verified the presence of the following elements in the chemtrails: barium, aluminum, radioactive thorium and cesium, copper, titanium, silicon, lithium, cobalt, lead, ethylene, dibromide, and several pathogenic agents. So pick your poison, right? Anyone knows about lead poisoning? That happened with car fuel back in the day, 50 years ago, or what was it? A little longer than 50 years. And it took like 30 years to have laws in place that would ban lead in car fuel. You see, from where it actually gets out, like the truth comes out, and lead poisoning is being witnessed, until there are actually laws in place that ban this stuff, where people say, well, something is going on. It takes 30 years or even more, because usually the people who profit from all of this, they just keep silent until people actually do something about it, until people actually talk about it, until people actually bring it to the light, bring it into the people's attention, also into society, exposing the stuff, shining a light on these things. Okay, because the people who own the plane companies and who provide the plane fuel and all this stuff, they profit from all of this. They don't care what's happening to the people in the cities. They usually don't live in the cities. They have their residencies outside somewhere, you know. They don't care. And they don't care as long as the people don't care. They don't have to care. Okay? They just say, okay, we're getting paid, we fly people around, the people are distracted by, oh, I can travel from one place to the other in 8 hours, just take an airplane. They give any amount of money these days. They pay 1,000 euros for such flights, or even more. You know, and then they don't know what's happening because they are so distracted by their egoistic lifestyles. Okay, this is a very important aspect of today's society with the Insta and Facebook type of sharing also, oh, my cool life, and then they go abroad, whatever, they do all these kind of things. They don't actually care about what's happening, what is going on with airplanes, what fuel are they using, is this healthy, right? Chemical trails can cause a condition called Morgellons syndrome. That's where it's getting really interesting, and I'll get into this in a minute. It is a disease which causes serious deterioration in the body. As well as this disease, chemtrails are associated with other illnesses such as tumors, Parkinson's disease, and cardiac dysfunction. So you see that they give you the knowledge or the information that it can cause diseases. Simple as that. It's no secret. Yet, when you look up Morgellons symptom, or what that actually is, and what is the Morgellons disease, then you get the information, oh, it's all just psychological. It's not real, it's an illusion. This skin disease does not exist, right? It's all just psychomatic, or however they want to call this, right? So again, if then people go from this article to look up what is Morgellons disease, this is where they are being herded again into certain directions, where you think, oh, chemtrails aren't real because these people that have those diseases, they just imagine to have those diseases, they are not real at all this kind of stuff, and they are self-diagnosed and whatever. So here you have to be really careful what information you're using and what information can be used, and you have to use discernment. Given that the effects is on human health caused by the chemical trails described in the blog seem to be very serious, can the Commission state if it is aware of the effects of chemical trails and what the European Union's position is as regards the objectives that are being pursued and giving rise to this phenomenon? So again, after all, they give you the truth right there, what's inside those chemtrails, but then they're kind of leading the people again into a direction of, oh, it could be not real, right? It's some people out there self-diagnose themselves with some skin diseases and they may be delusional, right? All this kind of stuff is happening. People have to be careful and pay attention and really seek out the information that they need and stick with that, and don't let yourself be distracted by any other things. When you go deeper into, oh, what kind of diseases can be possibly be caused by chemtrails, then you also need to come back to reality, right? You do not know much about this. All you can know is, okay, these things are inside the chemtrails. There are studies about the materials, what are certain materials doing in animals, for example. There are studies about this. You can also do your research on that. And then in general, it's like that. If man makes a chemical cocktail, it's usually not healthy, right? Healthy is what God has created. Fruits, unpolluted air, everything works perfectly according to God, so to say. We can be healthy when we are with God, but because we live in this huge man-made world that are punching chemicals into cocktails for profit, for whatever, sweetening stuff, making addictives, addictions, creating addictions in the people for profit also, living off of oblivious people that don't care about anything, then that's also the reality that we have to face. Okay, there's this God-created life where people are supposed to live healthy and happily, so to say, humbly, and in community. And then there's this world, man-made created world, that is rising up like the Tower of Babel, that we're facing. Okay, this is a reality, this is truth also. Okay, a very deceiving reality, because people think that that's the life. Oh, that's just how people are. That's the man-made. This is man, you know. But what is life according to God, and what is life according to world-controlling man? Okay, who own the countries by now, all the continents, who have worldly, earthly power. Okay, there is a difference between those two, and this comes down to faith, to your specific faith, individual's faith, to the mind. That's why also they need to control the mind. They always need to make you think that their produced stuff is much better than God-given vegetables, fruits, and all this stuff. You know, the processed foods. You know, they say they make a drink with fluids. They just write, oh, it's a protein shake, right? And they say this is food, and they hand these liquids to you. You don't actually know exactly what's inside. You're just buying because they are writing on top of it that it's healthy, and it's so there's so much going on. I can't even get into all of this, but usually what people should do is get back to truth, to God, get back to homegrown food. Okay, if you have an apple tree in your garden, then pick those apples and eat them. They are healthy usually. Okay, or at least the most healthiest thing you can get, even if you're living around or in urban areas, or even in the city. If you're growing your own food on a balcony or whatever, it's still healthier than any processed food that comes from supermarket that they are advertising as superfoods and healthy food. Okay, titanium dioxide smoke, toxicity of military. Okay, titanium dioxide is the proposed major component of a training grenade, XM-AT2, under development by the US Army Chemical Department, probably. I don't know. I just also took this snippet to make you aware that this thing is also used by the military as a bioweapon. Titanium dioxide. It's being sprayed as a cloud or smoke. Okay, to cause harm. To probably make the opponent, how would you say, dysfunctional. That's what it is. Okay, and what's the opponent? The masses by now. It's like the governments against their own people. Okay, they are already talking about decreasing population and all this stuff. What do you think is going on? And then you read about the consequences that cause, like health consequences, causes dysfunctions in all kinds of places with people, causing cancer, causing some skin diseases, whatever. It all goes there. Okay, it all makes sense. I don't know why people have to call it conspiracy. It's like, just put one and one together. So, deeper detail now about titanium dioxide. Chemistry. You don't have to know much about chemistry in this case if you want to do research on what this is doing and where, in what products this ingredient can be found, or this metal can be found. And this metal in the clouds, it's breathable. It is still particle, but it's breathable. In the chemtrails, this particle is breathable. Okay, but there are foods where this particle is eatable. Okay, there are much higher concentrations of this particle. It's eatable, right? You cannot breathe in a piece of metal. It's that simple, right? But if it's dissolved in air, it's still nanoparticles, right? And these things we all breathe in together with the air, even though you cannot see them. Okay, there are all kinds of elements within the air. There is dirt in the air, simple dirt, that's also what we breathe in simultaneously. People have to be aware of that, of their own bodies, how all of this works. Biology. Nano-sized TiO2 in various forms is used widely in everyday life in a variety of products. So if you still doubt about the chemtrails and the stuff being inside the chemtrails and the chemtrails are being poisonous, if you still doubt that, well, look no further than food, such as anti-fouling paints, household products, plastic goods, medications, cosmetics, sunscreens, pharmaceutical additives and food colorants, and many new applications are under development or already in pilot production. Oh good, more toxic elements in the food, ingredients in the food. I mean, there is also a list. Chewing gum, that's the worst for me, because so many people use chewing gum because they feel ashamed when their mouth smells bad, usually because of a bad diet in the first place. Then they grab chewing gum on top of that, which is so toxic, and I'll get to chewing gum in a minute or later, because there are also other ingredients in that. Cosmetics, candy, chocolate, sauce, milk products. I mean sauce, barbecue. People do barbecue, they pick sauces in the supermarket. They don't even think that it could cause any harm to them. Sunscreen, toothpaste. If fluoride wasn't enough for you, there you go. Titanium dioxide will be there as well. Cake decorations, you can pick it, you're probably exposed to that stuff. We all have been exposed to that stuff. It's about time that we become aware of this and we actually choose what we eat, what we let into our bodies. Okay, and it all leads back to God's created food, nature. Okay, not this man-made processed stuff that they're spoon-feeding you with, so to say. And then they play on your emotions, right? They know, okay, people feel ashamed when their mouth smells bad, when they're talking, and then they grab chewing gum, and that's where they put the poison into it, right? Even more poison than the actual food, because they know, well, people, they have these feelings, and they need always a quick remedy, right? Okay, my mouth smells bad. Don't consider your actual diet. I need a quick fix, right? I need to meet that girl. I need a quick fix. So you just chew a gum. You don't even think about it. That's the point. That's the point that they count on. The elite, the people who are selling you the stuff. Okay. And maybe, in some fantasy world, maybe it's not their first intention to not cause any harm to you, but I said it's in a fantasy world. Okay, you have to live in the fantasy to think that they have not any sort of interest in keeping the people dumb and dysfunctional in the long run also. Okay, because that's how they rule over people. That's how they also care about population, about the increase and decrease of population. Okay, they want to control everything. That's the reality. That's truth. Okay, the fantasy world is the exact opposite. That's usually what people call truth, right? Oh, they are good. They don't want any harm to us. Yet you see all these chemicals that they put into these processed foods. Do you need a chewing gum? No. You were advertised to need it. It was marketed. Okay, that's basic salesmanship. Playing on your emotions, knowing that you probably have a bad diet which causes mouth smell, and then people need a quick fix. Okay, instead of actually looking at the real cause, bad diet, right? In the first place, eating too many processed other foods, then they grab the chewing gum. Titan dioxide, airborne unbound particles of blah blah. Titanium dioxide is a chemical used as a pigment to make products appear white or non-transparent. These include some sunscreens, cosmetics and art products. Just repeating all of this, giving you those snippets that you can research yourself if you have no trust or belief in the truth. Why is titanium dioxide banned in Europe? The European ban referenced laboratory studies that showed some damage to DNA in certain cell lines upon exposure to titanium dioxide. Okay, so not only people usually know about vaccines, know about this stuff, that it's causing DNA damage, causing autism, causing all kinds of dysfunctional people. But it's also this very ingredient that is used in food, cosmetics and in chemtrails, being inhaled or being eaten. When it's not inhaled, it's being eaten through food products. When it's not eaten, it's being inhaled. You see, how do we get out of this? Through God, first of all. Knowing the truth, bringing light to this, exposing this stuff as a community also. Getting the people ready. Okay. Titanium dioxide in food, Europe says no way. Canada disagrees. I mean, who is right now? Titanium dioxide. And that's the short version actually. E171. If you look up any ingredients of foods, that's usually what they give you is E171. They would not write titanium dioxide. Just another reason why people just shrug it off. E171, well, give me that chewing gum, right? Because they don't know what it means, they don't know what it stands for, what's behind this stuff, and they are too lazy to look it up. No longer considered safe when used. EFSA has updated its safety assessment of the food additive titanium dioxide, E171, following a request by the European Commission. Possible adverse effects of food additive E171, and by the way, these are official sources, National Institutes of Health, okay, .gov. They give you the truth. Yet they count on the fact that people are obliviously living just by their desires and needs, direct needs. Oh, I'm hungry, I need food. Oh, my mouth smells bad, I need a chewing gum, right? They count on this. They don't count on you to actually go there and figure out the truth. They just put it out there so they can say, well, we put it out there, you could have always looked it up. That's how they try to wriggle their way out of this, right? Wrigglies wriggle their way out of it. It all comes down to the same thing, right? Possible adverse effects of food additive E171 and 1 titanium dioxide related to particle-specific human toxicity, including the immune system. Obviously, the immune system is targeted in this world heavily. It's also linked to the pharma industry. Pharma industry is held by a few private people in this world. Okay, so they are targeting the immune system because this is what keeps people alive in general. If the immune system is targeted, if people don't know how to care about the immune system, if people don't know how to live healthy, how to be healthy, what to eat, then all these people in their younger years don't think anything, are oblivious basically, but in their age they are all cases for those institutes of dementia, of all kinds of diseases, Parkinson's or whatever. And the same people, the private owners of these pharma companies, industries, that by the way are also coating their products, their pills, with titanium dioxide. You see how this all works together? They make money off of those sick people. Okay, because the people will always run to the government and to these official institutions, hospitals in the first place. And instead of actually saying right here, right now, what is my lifestyle, what is my diet, what am I doing that will make me sick in the future, or what is it that I was doing in the past that I am sick right now, right? If your body has any conditions or whatever, then go to the actual source instead of like quickly running to anything where they hand you again pills that are coated with this E171, okay, that then also fool you into thinking, oh, well, that's gonna save you, that's gonna heal you. At the same time, it's a huge business, okay, and they're just using oblivious people for profit. Titanium dioxide may be a carcinogen in humans. There may be no safe level of exposure to a carcinogen. So all contact should be reduced to the lowest possible level. Sheet MSDS and the label to determine product ingredients and important safety and health information about the product mixture. And all of this information actually coming from the government years after. I mean, how long have people been chewing gums? Since the Second World War, or even before that, you know, probably always using titanium dioxide, and if not, then maybe at least for the last 50 years. Just now you get all of this information, you know, and they are coming out as if, oh, they were the source of truth, which is not like that, right? People are waking up to this stuff, and then they come out as, hey, you know, maybe this stuff isn't so healthy, but we are the ones who are taking care of all of this. They don't say, well, we are the ones who knew all of this before, we just didn't tell you, right? We put all those ingredients inside there, we didn't tell you. You were eating and breathing in all of this stuff all of these years. Just now that they're getting scared, so to say, over the last years, people are waking up to this stuff. They're coming out as the saviors, or the ones who have studied this and said, well, now we have proved that it's not healthy, right? You see, it's a self-profiling again going on by the government itself, trying to paint this illusion to the people, well, they are the ones who care for you. Well, if they actually cared for you, they wouldn't have let any of these ingredients be put into those products in the first place. Or why is it not that, okay, if a chewing gum is made or produced with certain products, that it's being supervised and analyzed right after production. The first chewing gum that has ever been produced, right? Just like with a vaccine, there are safety measurements that you have to go through until you can actually release it to the market, if it has all these processed kind of things in it. Okay, we're not talking about a homegrown apple. You have to analyze if it's healthy. You know, you can trust that. But with a chewing gum or any of these products, why is there not something in place that checks if these things are healthy in the first place? That would be governmental care, actually, right? But no, they just let these people do whatever they do. These industry businesses, they are basically working hand in hand together with the government. They're sitting in the same places, they meet up. Okay, these producers, manufacturers are rich elite people. Bloodline families, usually they're working hand in hand until the people get a glimpse of what is happening. Okay, only then they come out and say, well, what are we gonna do now, right? The people are waking up to our stuff. Well, let's self-profile us as the good guys who are bringing the truth to the people, right? So I mean, you see how this whole world works. And again, exposure to E171 resulted in a change in normal developmental and reproductive dynamics, reduced fecundity after repetitive breeding, increased genotoxicity, the appearance of aberrant phenotypes, and morphologic changes to the adult fat body. In essence, it's not healthy, it's toxic. Then, this was 2018. In 2023, an Austrian source said that it's not unhealthy at all. It's not toxic. No. Both the EOGRT study and the scientific studies consulted show no adverse health effects in general toxicity and organ toxicity at doses of 1000 milligram or kilogram per kilogram. I don't know what that means per day. E171 and 100 milligram per kilogram TO2 nanoparticles. There was also no evidence of adverse effects of E171 in reproductive and developmental studies. This is just one source I found actually in 2023 that said the opposite. All the other sources report that it's toxic, and it was banned in Europe. It is now forbidden since 2022, I think, but don't think that you cannot get these products anymore with this ingredient, okay? Because they say, well, if there are products in a store that haven't reached their best before date, then they can still be available in the supermarket without any sort of banning going on. Because the supermarkets, for example, they have products that are laying there around for years, such as, I don't know, medical products or whatever, that have a very high best before date. I mean, a very long time date for this. So these products are still laying out there in the supermarkets, purchasable by people. So don't think just because Europe banned it in 2022 you cannot buy these things anymore. And I show you a source also later from Amazon, because there are obviously other countries where this is not banned, okay? And you can always go online and buy your chewing gum from Canada, for example, which still has this ingredient in it. And that's my point where I get to. You have Airways, for example, one of the most famous chewing gums out there. Wrigley's is also one of the most famous chewing gums out there. And wait, and in the ingredients list, this is, by the way, this is a Amazon page, okay? That's not the official Airwaves site from Germany, for example, because I live in Germany. For some reason I couldn't access a foreign Airwaves homepage, but that's another story. Here I have actually the American Amazon looked up, and what do you get here for the dye? E171. Right there it is for the ingredients. That's the dye, that's the coating, okay? That makes it look white. Dragees, it's called, or dragees in I don't know if you call it in English like that, but it's a French word, dragees, and they are coated with this dye, E171. That's titanium dioxide, and you're eating this stuff. And if this wasn't enough, in those chewing gums you also get artificial sugars that are sweeteners. They are much sweeter than actual sugar. And for many years they said, well, this is much better than actual sugar, right? Because it's much sweeter, but it doesn't have this fat or obese making capability. Yet when you look into what this sugar is, it's aspartame or aspartame. Right there, it's this aspartame or aspartame. I don't know how you say that. In German it's aspartam, and it's a sweetener. What that does is basically opening the barriers in your gut so that other ingredients such as titanium dioxide can pass freely into your bloodstream. That's what that sweetener does. Okay? That's knowledge, information out there that they give you, yet nobody knows about this. Okay? That's where so many gut diseases are being created, is through these chewing gums, eating these chewing gums. People eat those on a daily basis, right? Because they think they are treating their bad mouth smell. At the same time, these just cure your bad mouth smell for a few hours, maybe for 1 hour, 2 hours, maybe. They actually make it worse because they destroy certain bacteria also in your mouth that would be helpful to actually metabolize bad bacteria, okay, and keep in general a healthy flora in your mouth and in your gut. It's all coming together, you see. Aspartam is opening the gates in your gut, so to say, and then freely can pass toxic metals such as E171, which is titanium dioxide. So if you're thinking about chemtrails being toxic, you're really at the bottom line here, okay? I mean, all I can wish or hope for the people is that they stop consuming this stuff, okay? First of all, food, because you cannot do much about chemtrails in the sky right now. What can you do? The most about is your food, your diet, all these processed products. Stop eating them, stop consuming them, okay? Don't think that this is how you treat your bad mouth smell. Your bad mouth smell you treat by having a healthy diet, by washing your mouth actually with solutions, water solutions and citron, lemon solutions, okay? Maybe like that. There are different remedies that you can use. There are different remedies that you can use to treat that, okay? You do not need to grab to toxic stuff, processed foods, that you are completely oblivious about what's actually inside these things and what these things, ingredients, are doing to your body when they are inside, okay? So if you think I'm here to create terror and fear and whatever, I am actually here to make you aware of this stuff. And if that stuff scares you, then then it's about time to say, well, I have to stop this, okay? Also, I know many smokers grab to chewing gums exactly because they think, okay, my mouth smells bad, but then why don't you quit smoking in the first place, which is also just as toxic? So you see, people usually live in these kind of habitual routines, right? They smoke, they eat chewing gums, they smoke, they eat chewing gums. On top of that, they are inhaling the chemtrails. I mean, there's toxic materials coming into your body is being bombarded, your immune system is being bombarded with toxicity from all kinds of sides. When they, for example, say, well, the amount of titanium dioxide in chewing gum, in one chewing gum, is not high enough to cause toxicity, you have to bring it all together from all sides. It's creating an intoxication and an offense, so to say, an attack on the immune system of people, which then creates, on a long-term basis, symptoms like tiredness, all these kinds of things, and worse diseases, okay, such as cancer. Worse things are coming, okay, if you don't stop right now. Repent and renounce this world, just as Jesus says it. Come back to God, to the truth, instead of indulging in this man-made world where they advertise and market all these products, and then you're just living in this, you're just being a battery for profit. That's the harsh truth. If you cannot come out of this through your mind, through spirit, through knowledge, through truth, truth will set you free. Okay. Again, aspartame hazard and risk assessment results released. So if you're not fine with saying, okay, there is titanium dioxide in that, and you doubt that it's toxic or whatever, because some sources say it's not toxic, some sources say it's toxic, then there are other ingredients that are just as dubious, let's say it like that. So why do you grab to this? Okay, just don't. Classified aspartame as possibly carcinogenic to humans on the basis of limited evidence for cancer in humans. The dangerous food additives aspartame, again, European Parliament is letting you know, yet they don't provide any solutions. They just say, well, that's inside, it's in there, right? They give you the knowledge, they give you the truth. Then they actually would go and herd you into some sort of, or mind control you into some sort of, oh, this is not actually going on, it's just all hallucinating people, right? That are imagining all this stuff. So you see, they're working the minds, they're working from all kind of things to just keep people asleep and oblivious. And that's my last word. The truth sounds like hate for those who hate the truth. If you hate what I'm saying here, then you hate the truth. It's that simple. If you think that what I say sounds like hate, oh, I'm hating on those big, I'm envious of those rich people. Some people would say, like, you don't get it. It's that simple. You don't get the point of truth. You don't get the point of telling the truth. It may sound to you like hate because you love this world, you're living in those habitual unhealthy routines, because that's exactly the bubble that they want to keep you inside. You are that battery for their profit. The elite people, the rich people, the people that are marketing this stuff, selling you this stuff, they count on the fact and they rely on the fact that you keep buying, and your children keep buying, and the next generations keep buying this stuff. Okay? You have to not think just about yourself, but also about your children, your children's children, over generations. Okay? Do you want to keep them oblivious, or are you the one now that says, okay, something's going on, and we do not go any further with that. We repent and renounce this world. And that truth can be harsh to some, or to most people, because they love this world. They love their chewing gums. They love their cosmetics. Okay, not riding on the chewing gum so much. Women, cosmetics. Okay, be aware of that. Why would you even alter your face? You're like, aren't you already beautiful enough? I think so. God would also say so. Who tells you you're not beautiful enough? You need cosmetics. It's rich men that are marketing that stuff to you. Okay? They live off of you, off of your insecurities actually about yourself. It's always like that. It is evil. It is deceiving. That's the truth. And if you hate that truth, then it sounds like hate to you. Okay? And it sounds like, well, you just want to be comfortably numb in your bubble, stay there, right? Where no one can ever touch you, and everything that, the truth that comes to you will then always be seen as an attack, not actually something that would help you free from this, okay? Free yourself and your children's children and whoever comes after from this, okay? That's the power of truth, okay? Freeing yourself from just being a clog in this whole system, just being like this battery again that is being used to shift money around, right? Because you are the one who is working for your money. You are the one who is working hard for your money. Whom do you give it back to? the people that make you sick, okay, this is truth. You have to become aware of that. If you work all your life hard for your money and then you end up sick because you've never actually paid attention to what you eat, your diet, anything like that, you see how you are being abused by rich people in this world who are just selling their products. Their own interest, or the only interest, is not to care so much about you. They just make it look like they care so much when the knowledge gets out there and more people wake up to this. But in the first place, their interest is to make money, and shifting money from you, the consumer, to themselves by products that you don't actually need, but they are marketed in a way so that you think you need them. They play on your insecurities or on your desires, you know, egoistic stuff. And that's how people are being made to consume. Okay? And all the money then goes to the same people that then already have also the pharmaceuticals in place, that they are also producing with the same coating. And why is this so wicked? All of this, you see, it's already wicked enough, but if you think about it, it's because it's a slow death, so to say, right? They keep you unhealthy for most of your life then. First of all, they keep you distracted, then they keep you hardworking, they keep you consuming, so that all the money that you are actually bringing in with real deeds are then shifted over to the people, rich people, that are serving you the toxic stuff, processed foods. All the money is being shifted towards them, that you are, or the people are actually creating. This is already wicked, but then it's a slow kind of death, where you then end up in, like, let's say 20 years. When you're young, you're not so much affected by all of this stuff, but when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, you get to points in your life where you're suffering semi-lethal consequences, okay, where you just like then become a clog in those hospitals where they deliver you with their pharmaceuticals, again making money off of you. And if it's not your own money, then maybe it's the money you paid into some sort of insurance company, where then the money from these insurance companies is being shifted towards, again, these private people who own all of this stuff, which is pharmaceuticals, hospitals, and for a very long time the food chains in the first place. Okay, so you see, it's completely wicked what is going on in this world, and truth will set you free from this. That you actually go into the supermarket and choose consciously, and in the best case you don't even walk into the supermarket anymore if you can, and you live in communities where you can grow your own food healthily. Okay, that would be the most sane thing to do at this point. But I get it, not many have this possibility. So if they are depending on supermarkets, which is also another thing that they implemented into society, depending on all these things, because people care too much about their careers, their studies, their lifestyles, right? Then they need just quick food, fast food, and all this stuff. They live in this comfortable bubble, right? They don't think further. They are completely oblivious to all of this. They just they desire this kind of lifestyle, and they don't know, they are not aware of with what price it comes actually. If you do not consciously go into the supermarket and really choose what kind of foods you are buying today, okay, and if you actually need them, and what kind of ingredients are in there, and even the vegetables are already sprayed with chemicals and stuff. So all you have to do is be aware, okay, and come to a healthier lifestyle and actually consciously choose. And while we cannot do much about chemtrails in the sky now, going back to the start of this, we can bring attention to that and expose it for what it is. That's what I'm doing here. So share it, and only then people can actually, the power is actually then with the people again, and they can change something. They can maybe say, okay, we're banning chemtrails or whatever, but don't even hope for this. Just be aware of what is going on right now and expose it, okay?